Good afternoon. My name is Denise Carvalho. I am here to welcome you into my channel. It is a channel on spirituality, art, creativity, new languages, new forms of expression. I will include interviews, perhaps even some debates with artists, writers, critics, with spiritual figures. The intention of this channel is to communicate ideas that I believe are important right now, ideas on the ability of recreating languages, expanding forms of creativity with wisdom, knowledge that can be expanded in various formats, systems, perhaps even, and can be understood in different languages. So the reason for this is I feel a sense of urgency in terms of expressing ideas that I have been struggling with in relation to the world today, the potential changes that we need to make, the direction of creativity in those changes. And we need to consider a shift in terms of our past, leaving it behind as it does not add anything new. It just keeps us on a same loop. And we have to find new forms of expression, even if the form of society that we know appears to be the same way as before. It definitely is reaching a turning point that will change very soon, if not has already been changing. I can feel that the needs of people for communication, openness, clarity, creativity in language has become urgent, as most of us are still afraid to be ourselves or to expand our ways of grasping these cultures that we are living today. The fact that we are potentializing social media as a form of collective engagement is really necessary for us to see why social media has to become a language of creativity, not just exposure of social possibilities, but also a place in which we can redefine our ways of communicating with others, our forms of grasping meaning. And for that, I am intending this channel to become an experimental channel in terms of talking about certain issues that need deeper understanding, consideration, and ways of seeing how these new ideas can lead new forms of enterprise, new forms of social engagements that allow us a more direct influence on our social reality, not just an apparent um, influence that perhaps makes us feel like we are a part of it, but we don't really have enough power to make those changes. So we need to feel that our voices are reaching a more truthful kind of agenda in various businesses today. So there is a more direct, um, way of engagement and influence on those systems today. So, what is for me spirituality? I see spirituality not necessarily as a religion, because I was actually brought up in a Catholic family. I always saw spirituality beyond that, but I also had my beliefs in the symbolic connections with Catholicism. But for me, spirituality has become a much more um, fulfilling area in which other symbolic ideas can be a part of. For example, I am a person who has been dealing with the arts, especially painting, since I was in my 8, 9 years of age. And I have continued doing this in a very spiritual way, because my work has never really been entering the kind of, let's say, um, more socially accepted um, places or systems of visibility. Except as a curator, um, I did look at these more socially connected links, because I felt that many contemporary artists needed to have some form of input in their social reality and in their places of culture, especially in New York City, where I have been living for over 3 decades. I see also that spirituality allows us in the arts to expand from just what becomes encoded in the culture, that is also a part of the sustainability of their economics. And this is not what I think that the role of art is supposed to be. I believe that art, not being painting and sculpture and writing, it can be any creative expression, including that of language, including that of rethinking the way we speak, rethinking the models of our culture, and so on. But I believe that the visual arts have a lot of potentiality in making these new languages, or these way of reaching out to social political systems, in ways in which we can not just become viewers of art or buyers of art, but we can also become engaged with the ideas that we create and see those ideas as ways of expanding our forms of thinking, our ways of reaching out to systems, economic and environmental, um, you know, humanitarian, and change them, expand them, change them for the better, create more engaged ideas that can influence. So this is what I'm trying to look at in more depth to see if it is actually possible for us to bring more creative inputs into these systems. So, also, I want to say a little more about myself. When I was younger, I grew up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And as you know, Rio or Brazil, many states, many places in Brazil, but mostly I know from my culture in Rio, is very much open in terms of its religious influences. It has a lot of Afro-Brazilian cults and influences from these cultures that had become, ways of looking at perhaps the African influences in Brazil, and obviously changed with the local shifts in throughout the many decades, becoming um, more their own thing, their own ways of perceiving spirituality and the engagement with their own culture, their own social distinctions and cultural distinctions in Brazil. So um, I learned a lot from that experience, and I brought with me many questions about who we are, and I see in myself also the influence of various ancestries that are not directly related to my current life. So I am a very mediunic person, if you will. I had various experiences of more super conscious dreams that had offered me some more information about the possibilities of the many reality possibilities that we have. But I am very limited in my knowledge of that. So these are more things that I feel like are still to be developed in me. But I do I have been developing that also through the arts. That is one of the ways that I channel some things that I myself don't understand how they happen, but they definitely happened. And it's not just I saying, but other people who saw how my works reveal some things, how my paintings reveal some situations that are about to happen, or that happen later. And I thought that was incredibly interesting because it shows an aspect of our imagination that we cannot grasp completely in our everyday reality. And definitely we cannot control it. So, and I am extremely respectful of the fact that I do not control that. And therefore, I do believe in a higher spiritual level of entities that have influence on us when we are open to that spectrum, to that form of connection that is more soul based in the soul, right? Based in the spirit, even. So, although I don't see myself as a master in any of that. I have had, I have added to my other knowledges, and I always utilize these other knowledges with the connection that I have with spirituality, with creativity, with art. So I have an extensive knowledge in art history. I have a PhD in critical theory with emphasis in art history, and I have been teaching that for like over 20 years at the college level. And also, I write. I have been writing for 3 decades. First as an art critic, and I have written essays. I actually wrote a book that has not yet been published, but has been taking forever to be published. But yet it is there. And I have written a dissertation and 2 theses, one in art history, one in cultural anthropology. So I have master's as well as a PhD. So, but the point of that is just that these were knowledges that were accumulated over the years. I am learning more from the engagement with spirituality and creativity as something outside the system. And that is what I bring to my knowledge. And I utilize that, for example, when I'm writing with the, critical theory ideas that I use constantly in my teachings. I think about how spirituality and how art has changed the way I perceive some of these ideas. And I bring that context of my knowledge into let's say, the philosophic or critical or theoretical thinking. And I learn a lot more from it as I keep pushing the contextuality between my thoughts and those of other brilliant minds of the past. So I think that these are sides of our engagement with knowledge that we should all have the the freedom to expand and to participate and to become a part in a way in which we change, we redefine in a clearly knowledgeable way, not in just taking chances, putting something there and not knowing how that uh, influences all the other thoughts that had become contextualized in that thought, but to really seeing when our ideas can change and can push our imagination towards something more current, and perhaps with the possibility to expand our horizons and give us strength and allow us to believe in something new. So, what we need right now is to move away from the past, because that past, that history, that cycle is changing, and start building towards the new. And I think that the new needs knowledge, not just anything. We need to deepen ourselves into knowledges that we bring with us. And we have to really think dearly about these thoughts and expand them in our ways, in our methods of communication, in our abilities, whether they are musical, writing poetry, writing books, um, even methods of spirituality, considering even the possibility of belief systems. So all of these ideas welcome new possibilities, and we are here to provide that. We are here alive in this world today to add, to raise the bar of our culture to a higher place, a place that can inspire all, but also can give us a sense of certainty that we have a lot more than we imagine to have, to find new ways and not to despair, even when situations are very, very difficult, that we have the ability to trust in our higher consciousness and expand that through our own potentials. We all have those potentials, even if we can't write and read, we still have potentials that we can add. And so, and this is why I am here. So I also wanted to tell you that I always studied these other forms of spiritual ideas. I studied numerology when I was in my teenage years, and that helped me a lot to understand several things, even the histories of certain, cultures like the ancient Egyptian cultures, and others later on, more modern, more contemporary. But I also studied the tarot for over 30 years, and I am fascinated with the symbolic meaning of the tarot cards and how they have existed for centuries and were at some point perceived as more like like a recreative form of engagement in parties. But I do believe that the possibilities of creating or redefining certain myths help us to expand our possibilities to think ourselves human beings and our role in this planet. So today I'm going to end our first conversation, and I hope that you guys will interact with me and send me questions, send me thoughts. I would like to be able to respond to them if possible in the next lecture or session that I am planning to make. So I will get today one card from an oracle deck that I have here, and bring in it from it this card, a message to us today. So let's ask the angels and archangels that are near us, are near me here, and in all the homes of people who I am connecting, and enlightening all of us, to bring us inspiration and light. So Oh my God. The sun. I I love this card. Here it says light, but this is the upper arcana of the sun, which is really all about fulfillment, the possibility of enlightenment, light in our minds and beings, spirits and bodies, and bringing force, strength, determination, courage, wisdom, and much, much harvesting for us, much, much growth for us all in this planet. All of those who don't have anything, the sunlight will shine in their lives today and will sustain its light to inspire and to bring growth. And to all of those who have, they will be added much more, because plentiness is what we all need right now to create and to reach a higher place. The sunlight brings wonderful feeling of that we are surrounded by high beings, beings of light, and that our week will be full of beauty, love, joy, happiness, and good health. And great abundance will come soon. Thank you. And I wish you a wonderful day. Stay in touch.